Do you ever feel like the daily grind is wearing you down? Like you're checking boxes, you're surviving, but not really thriving? You got the career, the relationships, you're holding it all together, but sometimes life just feels a little bit flat. Not really bad, but not really great either. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the mental benefits of a style of training that most men over 40 overlook. One that clears the mental fog, boosts your mood and your performance, and helps you get your edge back without spending all your time in the gym. My name is Aaron Kubitz. I'm the founder of Functional Aesthetics of Eau Claire. For the past 20 years, I've helped busy men over 40 get leaner, stronger, and perform better without burning out or spending all their time at the gym. Most of you have heard of endorphins. They're the runner's holy grail. But the funny thing about endorphins is that you gotta hurt before you can get high. You gotta, in essence, what endorphins do is they mask the discomfort that your body is in. But what if you could get that same mental boost without the beat down feeling that often accompanies a long distance run? So you can get these endorphins by, running 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 miles, but oftentimes after you do that, you feel a little bit beat down for at least the next couple hours, and you don't want to do much. What if instead of feeling beat down like that, you could feel more energized? Good news is you can with power training. Now, as I've talked about in other videos, power training is the rate of force development. How fast can you deliver force? Endurance is about how long can you produce force for before fatigue sets in and you're no longer able to produce that, continue going at that same rate. And strength is just the absolute amount of force that you can produce. Think about doing a 1 rep max squat, bench press, deadlifts, things like that. Strength is all about how the absolute quantity of force versus how long, or like with power training, how fast can you produce the force. So what we're talking about today is power, the rate of force development. So examples of power training would be like kicking and punching in martial arts or boxing, sprinting, jumping, throwing a javelin, throwing a shot put, even swinging a golf club or a baseball bat are all examples of power. Now, beyond the athletic side of them, what are the benefits? Well, number one, just, you get a confidence boost from being able to sprint, run, jump, move athletically, right? It kind of ties back into that whole thing about not feeling like you're checking off a box. A lot of guys are like, okay, I got to go to the gym, I got to walk on the treadmill for this amount of time, and then I'm going to go hit my mandatory deadlift, squat, bench press, maybe throw in some biceps curls, and now I've checked off the box, kind of like a lot of people approach going to church. Well, I got to go to church on Christmas, on Good Friday, all these different things, and I checked off the box. I've been a good boy this week, and a lot of people approach fitness with the same way. A lot of the reason for that is because many guys can't see how fitness improves the rest of their life, right? Most guys in their 40s are way beyond that point where many of us were in our 20s and 30s, in our teenage years, where we wanted to get buff to impress the girls or to perform better in a sport, and it was a lot about vanity, whether it was athletic performance or how good our physique looked. At this point in our lives, it's a lot more about how does this actually help me live a better life, live better, whatever that means to you, right? And a lot of guys have all these other stressors going on, right? They've got the job, they've got the family, they've got the home maintenance, and oftentimes they're feeling kind of tired. They don't have as much of the energy that they had in their 20s and their 30s, and they aren't motivated by the same things that they were in their 20s and 30s. So that motivation to go and exercise is often decreased because you can't see, how does this actually improve my life today? Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't matter if you are 45 or 85 years old, your life is going to be better if you are continually training. Now, the way that you're training and the magnitude of your training will definitely be different when you're 45 versus when you're 85. But that doesn't mean you can't continue reaping those benefits. And one of those benefits is the mental health benefits that you get. Now, when you, like I said before, when you are going and doing the long runs and stuff like that, you sometimes will get these endorphin boosts. But the same thing can happen with power training. You go do a series of short sprints. Even if you run for sprint for 10 seconds or whatever, or if you can't sprint, maybe you're doing some kettlebell swings, right? You do maybe 5 or 6, explosive swings, and it's going to be easy on the joints, but you're still going to be getting a very similar effect. You get that explosiveness, right? You could do some half power cleans with a barbell or something. Nothing super heavy or intense, but it's going to help wake that up. You're going to release a combination of adrenaline, dopamine, and also those endorphins I talked about before, along with brain-derived nootropic factor. Now, one thing that I've been experiencing a lot more as I've transitioned from most of the jobs I did in the past were physically active jobs. I was fortunate to not work a lot of desk jobs for most of my life, and that was by design. It was actually my goal in life, and now I actually do work a desk job. And the one thing that I've noticed is that my motivation often to go for a walk, to go for a run, to even lift weights has declined versus in the past. And the funny thing is, I'm actually doing less activity because of the nature of my job than I was in the past. So why is my desire to do exercise less? Well, often this is because of the nervous system, right? And also like the lymphatic system, your circulation, right? And the release of fatty acids. I've talked about in other videos. One of the best things you can do is the first thing when you get up in the morning, do some breathing exercises, do some stretching, do some light calisthenics, not a full-blown workout. I mean, if that's the time of the day that you do your workout, but regardless of when you do your workout, first thing in the day, get moving, get some blood flowing, because what that's going to do is it's going to make it much more likely you're going to have the motivation to exercise later on in the day. And so how does this tie into power training? Well, one of the ways that you can actually get yourself in the mood to exercise is beginning your workout with a movement specific warm-up, right? So if you are, let's say if you're doing squats, then you're going to want to do a warm-up that involves that squatting sort of pattern. You want to, if you're doing pushing exercises for the day, all your warm-up's going to involve those things. Now you can just do just the barbell, and actually that's a great way to warm up for squats, just using the barbell. Quickly load some weights on there and get yourself nice and ready to go. You don't want to spend too much time in the warm-up. After that brief little movement thing, just to get the circulation going, get to the joints prepared and stuff, movement prep. Then what you want to do is a series of little, maybe some bounding exercises, squat jumps, maybe some short little sprints or some broad jumps, whatever power movement is going to mimic the main movement that you're doing in the day. What this is going to do, it's going to wake you up. It's going to excite your central nervous system because our body adapts to what we do predominantly throughout the day. So if your job requires that you sit most of the day, your body is going to adapt to the state of wanting to sit most of the day, right? And so when you get home, your body's going to be like, I want to continue sitting. Now that's the exact opposite of what you want to do because you've already been sitting all day. But you need to flip a switch. And one of the things you can do is the power training. You can, this works the same too with if you need a little bit more confidence, right? You need a little bit more charisma before you're going to give a speech or something, right? You can do a couple of squat jumps, backstage or something. Do a little bit of shadow boxing. Do some breathing. Get that nervous system excited so that your energy is high when you come out there to deliver your speech. And power training doesn't just help you to be more confident, have more fun in your workouts, feel more athletic again, and boost your energy, right? The other thing it can do is help to reduce your stress, right? Because one of the reasons that we feel stressed, at least if you're like me, I don't get stressed by doing a lot of work. We often feel stressed when the amount of work or the challenges that we are facing, we don't feel like our physical or mental capacities are up to that task. That's when we feel stressed. Otherwise, if we feel fully capable, right? Like if you are let's say for example you're playing rugby, you're playing football, and you're the strongest guy on the field, you don't feel stressed at all. It's fun to go out there and hit people and do the stuff, right? If you are in great shape for running, right? You look forward to doing the race. You're not stressed about it because you feel up to the task, right? But oftentimes we get kind of beat down by life, right? And so with power training, it actually stimulates the nervous system. It also trains fast twitch muscle fibers. And as a former coach of mine had talked about, it's like the brain and the body are all very connected. What's going on in the body is going to affect the brain. What's going on in the brain affects the body. And so training your fast twitch muscle fibers can actually help not only your body become faster and more coordinated and have better reaction times, it can actually help your brain to do the same thing, because the brain and the body are linked together, right? So if you want more mental agility, if you want faster reaction times, quicker recall, better memory, and the ability to hold tasks together longer in your brain, then you're going to want to do a little bit of this power training to help with that. Now, aerobic training is great too. Aerobic training can help with creativity. It's actually a great way to recover from higher intensity stuff like this power training, or doing heavy lifting like we do in phase 3 of the hybrid strength system. But power training can get you those a lot of those benefits that you get from the runner's high, from the long distance running, without having to spend all that time on the road and without the additional time to recover afterwards as well. When you do power training, you feel stimulated, you feel ready to go, you feel energized, rather than feeling like you need to recover from that training that you were doing. And so this all has the effect of helping you feel less stressed because you feel more capable and more in control. In summary, exercise doesn't have to be boring, doesn't have to be routine, and it definitely shouldn't be painful. A lot of guys shy away from doing athletic style of training, power training, because they feel like their joints are not going to be able to handle it. And indeed, your tendons, your ligaments, as you get older, do not have as much elasticity. It takes you longer to recover. But that just means that you have to train smarter. In the end, it can actually make you better than you were as a younger individual, because often as a younger individual, you didn't think about how you did stuff. You just went and did it. I know that I've had injuries and I've had, gut health issues, different health problems and stuff, and all those things were the opportunity that caused me to become better, to become stronger than I was when I was in high school, because I learned how to do things smarter, right? And so if you're a guy over 40, 50, even in your 60s, and maybe even beyond, you can still do power training, you can still sprint, you can still jump. And good news is you can get those benefits in 10, maybe 20 minutes, and that includes all the rest time and the setup period and everything. You do this 1 to 3 times a week, one time to start, one time a week to start, and maybe all you do that day is just the power training and then to go for a walk or something, right? And you're going to reap these benefits for the rest of the week, and definitely for the rest of that day. Well, hopefully you got some value out of this video. Maybe it shifted your perspective on how you ought to be training as a man over 40 who wants to remain strong, capable, in control, and mentally and physically sharp through the decades of your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. Now, if you're interested in hearing more content related to workout design for building muscle, shedding body fat, improving athletic performance, as well as dietary approaches for those, and then how to avoid getting injuries while you are training for those things, and if you do get an injury, how to work around it, then this is the channel for you. Go ahead and click the button in the lower right hand corner of the screen to subscribe, and I will see you all next time for more health and fitness information. Before I go, I just want to let you know, go ahead and check down in the description below. I got a bunch of links to various different ebooks and resources that you can check out to learn more about how to structure your diet for the right diet for you to perform at your best, because we all have a little bit different genetic variations. You can check out that video. How to calculate your calorie needs without using online calorie calculators. Those tend to be pretty generic anyway. And then introduction to hybrid strength training. This is basically what I teach, where it's a combination of 4 different strength training styles to help you become the most well-rounded athletic guy over 40, and also increase your training longevity. So you're not just one-dimensional power lifter who just lifts a bunch of weight, or a runner who can run really long distances but can't fight his way out of a paper bag. You have the complete package. You're strong, lean, athletic, and capable both mentally and physically. All right, guys, we'll see you all next time.